Story 1. The audio is very low, and then when fight scenes start, it becomes extremely loud and hurts your ears. I do not care how good it is. This will make me turn it off every time. It seems like such an easy thing not to mess up. Story 2. When characters do not know how to communicate or share information at all. Have the writers ever talked to people? We overshare everything. People will spend 30 minutes explaining a story that could be told in 10 seconds. No one withholds critical information from their companions in real life to move a plot along. Story 3. Scenes that are too dark to see what is happening. A little darkness is fine, but when I cannot see it, I immediately give up. Story 4. I hate when they live in these glorious mansions or seaside homes in the Hamptons, and then they say they are a chef or a writer with writer's block. Story 5. I wouldn't say ruins it, but whenever a character is drinking from a clearly empty mug or cup, it annoys me. How hard is it to put water in to at least look realistic? Story 6. Anytime the major conflict could be solved with a simple 5-minute conversation. Similarly, when the protagonist's friend has something very important to say and they cannot listen because something else demands their attention. It is incredibly lazy writing. Also, whenever the male main character grabs his female counterpart's hand and runs with her, she could run better if you were not pulling her along. Story 7. I hate myself for saying this, but when the lead actress or actor has distractingly bad plastic surgery. Story 8. In a post-apocalyptic dystopian world where resources are scarce, women still have mascara, eyeliner, perfect eyebrows, and clean, conditioned hair. Story 9. When scenes are too dark to see what is happening or to recognize the characters involved, there is an instant loss of interest. Story 10. It drives me nuts when people in movies or television finish a phone conversation and just hang up without saying goodbye. It is so rude. Story 11. Lack of continuity, such as small wardrobe changes and makeup differences between shots, occurs when the scene is supposed to be taking place at the same time. Story 12. Deus ex machina, or a rescue at the last minute that does not come naturally from the plot up to that point. Story 13. I really hate when the camera shots are so short and quick that you cannot take in the backdrop scenery or character expressions. I think it is a symptom of shorter attention spans and trying to force quick-paced engagement. Unfortunately, this is extremely common in newer movies. I hate it. Story 14. Answering this for my wife. Babies. When the baby is very clearly a doll wrapped in a blanket, and the actors are holding it incorrectly or moving it less than gently. When the baby is clearly computer-generated imagery, as in the movie Revenge of the Sith. When the newborn baby does not come out with vernix caseosa and a purple hue. It is just born completely clean and clear, and the placenta never comes out. When the newborn baby is born large, with amazing head and neck control, and sits up unassisted before 6 months. Story 15. Using sexual assault as a plot device when not necessary or improperly handled is problematic. Especially when it is portrayed in a way meant to present it as something sexy, to make the assailant seem particularly powerful, or when it is more about upsetting a main character than anything else. Using sexual assault for humor is completely unacceptable. I dislike it so much that I had suppressed it as an option. It is not acceptable. It is also deeply troubling that almost all representations with men as the target are portrayed for laughs, and often the story completely overlooks that it is indeed assault. Story 16. A weak ending. A movie can be incredible up until the last 10 minutes, and a weak ending will spoil everything that came before it. There are many movies that I would love if it were not for the conclusion. Story 17. I cannot stand it when actors smoke cigarettes if they have clearly never smoked before. It makes otherwise tough, gritty characters look like uncomfortable teenagers trying to be cool. It distracts me and takes me out of the moment. Just have the character not smoke. Story 18. When there is a 120 decibel difference between the sound effects and the dialogue, I am looking directly at you, Interstellar. Story 19. When the ending is, it was all a dream. Worst possible way to end a story. I would rather have rocks fall. Everyone dies. Story 20. Action or superhero movie where the hero will not kill the main villain because it would make him just as bad. after fighting through many henchmen causing severe injuries. Those henchmen are just as human as the main villain. The recent Blue Beetle movie was like that. Jamie refused to kill the main villain after throwing henchmen through concrete walls. His uncle used a mechanical suit to stomp on people who got impaled and stuck to the legs, and his grandmother hit 4 opponents with a bazooka. Story 21. It was all a dream. Jacob's Ladder. When a movie reveals that a preceding part of the movie, maybe the whole thing just did not really happen. Okay, so then you have just been wasting my time. Thank you. Story 22. Gratuitous sexual scenes appear right at the beginning. I feel the film industry sees these as a way to quickly and easily grab viewers. For me, it is the opposite. Story 23. When the entire plot revolves around a simple miscommunication, often someone does not explain the full story of what happened or what they did. As a result, the other character is led down a path of vengeance or destruction, when the whole movie could have ended in 3 minutes if someone had said, "I think you misheard me. Here is what actually caused this current situation, and it can quite easily be resolved." Story 24. Pushing the male character and female character together because why not, apparently. That and any kind of, "we have to win her back, dude," after doing something unforgivable to her. Or, if she does not say yes, I will keep proposing until she does. Just no. Story 25. When women do not carry a bag when they go out, it is because they do not have adequate pockets. Where are their keys, wallet, and phone? Story 26. I know this is a personal example, but as a Japanese person, it drives me nuts when a Japanese character is played by someone who clearly is not Japanese. Most of the time, the character being Japanese is not vital to the plot in any way. So if the actor is Korean, then why not just make the character Korean as well? Story 27. A character casually summarizes a convoluted or absurd plot point as a joke to mask that someone insisted their idea be used despite it being unwise. Story 28. When I am supposed to read the text from their phone, I can never make it out. Do not get me started on handwritten notes. Either read it to me or do not include it as an important plot point. Story 29. A male and female partner cannot just be friends. There always has to be some sort of innuendo or objective that they are going to hook up at some point. Story 30. I cannot stand watching an older man with a much younger romantic partner. It makes me feel sick. I stopped watching Curb Your Enthusiasm for this reason. Story 31. Soft porn-style sex scenes. Why can't we just have a good kiss scene and then fade to black? Mystery is no longer a mystery when I am forced to watch it repeatedly. Story 32. Several people mentioned intimate scenes, and it reminded me. It really bothers me when the lead actress is fully covered in an intimate scene, but the poor up-and-coming actress, for whom this is her first or second movie, is shown nude elsewhere in the same movie. I see what you are doing. Story 33. Inaccuracies in military movies are common. It is not hard to look up uniform regulations or specifics of most weapons and tactics. From my perspective, it is just lazy writing and turns me off instantly unless it is funny. Story 34. That blue filter used to make things seem gritty and dark is not from a movie, but Ozark is the first thing I think of when I talk about this. I really do not like every color being washed out and tinted blue. Story 35. My pet peeve is female law enforcement conducting fieldwork, sensitive investigations, or chase and captures in high heels. No booty, or heel is comfortable enough to pound pavement while in pursuit. It is also not possible to move quietly on hard surfaces in high heels. Story 36. If any form of romantic cheating occurs, it should be presented only as a serious wrongdoing. Story 37. A supposedly poor character living in a house filled with expensive decorations and furniture. Do set designers have no idea that poor people cannot shop at IKEA and HomeSense to fill their house? Story 38. People in crowd scenes of battle sequences who just stand awkwardly pretending to fight. In the movie Gladiator, there is a scene between Romans and Germans with a very short moment where 2 men dressed as Germans are smiling while swinging their swords. Could the movie director not notice this while editing the scene? Story 39. When everything is exploding and danger is all around the characters, They take this moment to explore their feelings for each other. It's like, stop talking and run already. Story 40. Long, drawn-out scenes of teenagers or college students acting foolishly, getting drunk or high, and being loud and annoying. I am old. Story 41. Gratuitous sex scenes. If I want to watch adult content, I will watch adult content. Just let me watch a movie without having to see people engaging in sexual activities. Edit. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. The sex scene in Team America is perfect art. Story 42. Using computer-generated imagery and artificial intelligence to bring deceased actors back to life for a glorified cameo is problematic. I liked Ghostbusters Afterlife until the moment they decided to reveal Egon's face attached to a random actor like an expensive rubber mask of a man who died of an autoimmune disease, just to have a few seconds-long clip of the senior citizen Ghostbusters saving the day. Feels disrespectful, pointless, and ruined the entire movie for me. It was not acceptable when Star Wars did it, it was not acceptable when Aliens did it, and it will never be acceptable. I will not watch any movie that does this. Stop puppeteering deceased people. Story 43. When the director and writer think the viewer is unintelligent and leave obvious plot holes, as if we would not notice. Story 44. My wife is asking a million questions 5 minutes into a movie we have both never seen, nor wrote the script for, directed, produced, or had anything to do with the production of the movie. Story 45. Not a movie but the show Line of Duty. The final season had an actress whose mouth made horrible smacking or almost eating sounds whenever she spoke, and it infuriated me. I had to skip her scenes. Story 46. I hate it when the sound effects or music are louder than the conversations. The music and effects help tell the story, but not as much as the actual dialogue. Story 47. I hate any plot point driven by a communication misunderstanding. One character refuses to let another explain something, or someone hears a snippet of conversation out of context and acts on it. It drives me insane when entire movie plots hinge on what could have been a 10-second explanation. Story 48. Quick action scenes in the dark are too dark to see what is happening. This is especially problematic during fight scenes with lots of quick movements. Either it should be completely black if the director is trying to make you use your imagination, or it should be bright enough for you to follow what is going on. Story 49. Literally any sexual scene, I do not know why, but every movie has a random filler sexual scene that adds nothing whatsoever. Story 50. Pointlessly drawn-out sexual scenes. Sexual scenes altogether, actually. It's just lazy. It fills time with something that could have been implied with a single look, a kiss, and then a fade out. We know what happens, guys. No need for the demonstration. Story 51. Absolutely terrible firearm sounds, unlimited ammunition, scopes on backwards, no magazines in the gun they are shooting, 27 magazine reloads from a plate carrier with 3 magazines, the sound of a revolver cocking while the person is holding a Glock. Hollywood dislikes guns so much that I think they do it on purpose to provoke gun owners. Story 52. Oh look, another teenage girl who just started menstruating gets possessed. Come up with something original. Story 53. I saw the trailer for the Jurassic Park movie coming out in a few weeks. Once I saw that there were kids on the island again, I was instantly out. So tired. Find the hottest upcoming science fiction director and have them adapt the original book. Story 54. Whispering dialogue followed by eardrum-shattering special effects. Gratuitous sex and violence that add nothing to the plot. Story 55. Too much music unless it is a musical. It is very distracting when every scene has a nostalgic song. Story 56. Fight scenes where the lead actor or actress is fighting fiercely, but can barely move, such as Robert De Niro in The Irishman and Seagal in one of his later movies. Story 57. Killing the boss instantly kills the entire army. Most large-scale action movies do this. Yes, it's easier from a storytelling perspective and cheaper to produce, but it is a weak storytelling arc. An army of millions of aliens decimates all of humanity's defenses, yet wiping out the leader causes all of them to instantly die. You destroy the command center ship and all the other ships and mechs just explode or fall to the ground. A single missile destroys a moon-sized battle station. You stab the leader and thousands of zombies all fall at once? No, that loses all respect for the movie. They could show a 2-minute montage of hard-fought battles, commanders giving orders, and people celebrating, making it believable that the apex was breached and the Grand War was won. Edit. Star Wars later retconned the Death Star story through Rogue One, but that idea stood for a long time. Story 58. Forced or convenient romance. I dislike when a male and female protagonist are paired together merely because they are two heterosexual people in close proximity. This is something that stands out in Pacific Rim. I fully expected the protagonists to share a kiss at the end, and when they did not, it earned points from me. Story 59. Inaccurate firearms. I am the person who points out that the character should have reloaded by now when watching an action movie. I was rewatching The Punisher on Netflix and noticed that in the scene where Masani goes to train at Anvil, she and everyone else are running the course with no front sight on their weapons. It is ironic because cheesy 1980s action movies are some of my favorites, and none of them reload or aim down the sights. Story 60. Lazy and overused tropes. A man witnesses a crime, the police see him and assume he is guilty, and he decides to run and find the real culprit himself instead of just talking to the police. A woman slips, a man catches her, his girlfriend or wife sees it and thinks he is cheating, and the man makes no effort to explain, spending the entire story seeking forgiveness for something he did not do. Lazy. Story 61. When they hang up the telephone but do not say goodbye. The word goodbye was invented as a way to end a telephone call. It always irritates me when they just hang up. Story 62. The 555 phone numbers. I am being picky, but it is just a glaring reminder. Oh, right, this is a movie. Story 63. Several things. Showing people vomit or use the bathroom. Seriously, what happened to just having someone make a retching noise? I don't need to see vomit or the contents of a toilet. This is shown so often now, and it's such a turnoff. Sexual assault scenes that unnecessarily show too much. You can clearly make that point without showing every detail. I didn't read all the replies, but a few things others have mentioned. When audio and visual are not quite synced correctly. When someone is supposed to be broke, but they live in a huge apartment or home that costs more than normal people could ever afford. Story 64. Lack of any kind of phone etiquette. The number of times people on screen just hang up on others is absurd. Most people in real life say some variation of hi or hello, and thanks or bye during personal or business calls. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.